kind of both. And I go through and whatever I feel like writing about, I write about it. And once I get it to a certain point, probably about 75% there, I go ahead and go out into the woods with it and kind of let the performance aspect of it write the rest of it. So you can write all sorts of cool things, only to find out you can't really sing them, that they don't sing good, or that word is ridiculous or something like that. But you've been wanting to use it, but it's like, it sounds weird sung. So then you find out what the song is really going to be like out there under the power lines.
What's a ridiculous word that you couldn't sing?
I don't know. Phrases and stuff like that. You hear yourself sing it out on the power lines. I can't think of one off the top of my head. But just, all I mean is that sometimes I'll be pedantic, or sometimes I'll try to really show out or something like that. And it's like, well, actually you're supposed to just, say this is, I don't know, use a lesser, lower synonym of whatever you're working on. So.
And how did it make you feel when this became the thing that made you really visible to people? Like, you'd been making music for a long time before that, and then suddenly you're everywhere all the time, and people are responding to you constantly. Like, what was that change like for you?
Oh, I just felt like I found what I was supposed to be doing. So it was like, finally I figured out what I was supposed to do, and boy do I love it. And so it's, I don't know, it really was like I discovered what I was put on the planet for.
Yeah.
So
I have to add, I think that listening to your music really reminds me of the speed that Woody would churn out songs. Right? He'd read a newspaper article and he'd write a song. He'd do it, and it's not the whole scope of your canon of music, and it wasn't Woody's either. But there's this element that you read something and you just have to say something about it. And again, with Woody, at least, we didn't always hear it, but this response to what was happening, kind of like a singing newspaper, was a bit of a Woody Guthrie element to his songwriting, and witnessing that in you is at least a very obvious connection for someone like me, but I think for all of us, there are certain songwriters who read and react because it just you have to, that's how you process it, right? Like that's how you process the news, whether it's good or bad or injustice or whatever it is. Sometimes that's the process of an artist. But your speed really reminds me of Woody. I love that. And some people just will work for 6 months, and you may too, also. Woody revisit stuff, but I love hearing that. I mean, something will happen in the news, and then I see you on TikTok or social media singing it, and I'm like, how do you do that? Like, how do you do that so fast? It's amazing, right? I want to compliment you on that. I love that, because it feels like, similar to the Dust Bowl ballads, we're hearing these stories sung back to us. I'm not, when you hear polished music that comes out 18 months later on a record label with a tour and all this stuff, doesn't have that immediacy, but when I hear you sing stuff, I go, okay, I'm not crazy, that happened, right? Someone's talking about it, this is really great. So I love that element of your work. Yeah.
And I was going to ask you that, like when you first heard about this guy who was receiving all of these Woody Guthrie comparisons, were you suspicious at first? Were you immediately on board? Like, no, we only stand on the side of the artist, get out of here. Actually, I do remember, everyone deserves their process. If anything, I'm actually a bit of you don't know this about me, about you, but I'm like protective over him. Like, let him be as an artist. Don't judge him. Don't try to own him. Don't try to monopolize him. Don't try to monetize him. Just let this kid and this guy who's writing music exist in a way that he can continue writing that music. So, if anything, I feel maybe more protective of him. We're not looking for a clone, and if Woody can be helpful to any artist, visual, photographic, journalistic, in any way, that's the
That's the goal. It's not about Woody Guthrie, it's about what he stood for. That's the lesson. So if there's anything that anyone can take from that, that makes me really proud. And you know, Woody had this team of people, you know, who recorded him without an intent to release, who documented him without the intent of monetizing him. And I wish that all artists were that lucky, because then you could see the artist just be and evolve at their own rate and their own speed to what's going on. So I'm like, let it be. At the same time, you know, go out and do your own thing however you do it. But yeah, that's what I think.
Jesse, I'm curious about that dichotomy because, I mean, you launched into broader consciousness by taking a smartphone and a guitar and standing in a field. Like, that is a pretty, like, minimalist way of working, but now you're negotiating an entire music industry, right? And you release records that aren't necessarily these protest songs. So can you talk about inhabiting those two different roles and, like, how you negotiate those two things?
I just do whatever I want. It's really nice. So I don't really have to reconcile the two. Yeah, I just put out a ton of records all the time and write whatever songs I want to and put them in different collections that I like and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't really see it as being different one way or the other. So having people like you and stuff make it to where that you can do just whatever you want.
I will say, watching Jesse in concert, I don't know if you've seen it, it's really phenomenal. Jesse will come out on his own doing some stuff, the band joins, they do some other stuff, then they leave and Jesse continues, and it's this beautiful way of doing like whatever you want to do, however you want it to be. And I have not ever really actually seen that with a live musician, and I love it, because again, that's you being and saying however you want to do it. And there's rock, there's rhythms, there's beats, there's all of like the musicality of rock and roll, and there's also the independent songwriter, and it's kind of all of it.
Yeah.
It's really fun to watch your shows, I have to say.
Oh, we cover a lot of ground. You're singing about United Health, and then it's like about bugs, and it's like whales, and it's a rock and roll tune, and you're doing a Black Sabbath song, and you do everything that you like.
Yeah.
That's how you should be alive. So.
Jesse, I do want to ask you about the speed at which you write, because now that I've met you and we've talked a bit, you're a pretty mellow dude. But you seem to write so quickly.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of time for revision? Is it like you write it and you play it? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, it's fun to be in a hurry with it. It's exciting. You're just running with an egg and a spoon, trying to get it over the finish line. So, and see if you can memorize it, and see if your mouth will make those words today. Yeah. You're in a hurry. You have a cup of coffee and you're out of tune. It's fun.
That's it. Keep it simple. Seems like that's working for you. How did you two meet one another? Like, was it pretty quickly, or?
I reached out. No, I got tickets. I mean, obviously, I'd seen them on social media, and actually, interestingly, and this is just really funny because this has never happened to me before. Rolling Stone magazine reached out to be like, "What does the Guthries think of Jesse Wells?" And I'm like, "What? You want to talk to me?" Okay. And I said what I said, which was essentially, you know, let the artist be, and I stand up for the artist. And then I went and got tickets to go see him at a concert, and I reached out and I was just like, "Hey, just wanted to say I'm coming, and just love what you're doing, and you know, if you want to say hi, great." And you know, Jesse and his team responded so sweetly and kindly and was like, "Yeah, come say hi." And I was like, "Oh, hi, I don't just love you. Okay, bye." You know, and that was kind of the beginning of a little friendship. And now I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing something in Nashville. I'd love to have you. What do you think?" And he's like, "Sounds great." And so I don't know. It's kind of a young friendship, but yeah, that's wonderful.
And Jesse, have you heard this record yet? Do you have any thoughts on it?
It's an interesting point, and one that, like a point in Woody's life that I don't think anyone has really heard yet, and it just opens a whole new scope. Like I thought I had him all figured out, and you think that you do based on like what you have, and you listen over these recordings, and you, oh, I don't know anything. So there's even more depth to somebody you thought was deep as an ocean. So that's phenomenal. Good job, Steve.
Thanks, buddy. And hearing that from you is a really big deal. Because, if it's meaningful to you, that's amazing. And, we really tried to warm him up and make him human in that way, right? And so people get to see him as a working songwriter, not as this frozen icon of whatever it is. And it's really meaningful that you felt that way about it. So, thanks, buddy. You're so good at what you do. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. So it makes me so happy in the morning. Like usually, and Jennifer can vouch for this. I wake up. I'm not a really happy guy in the morning. But like when you show up on my phone, it's like I shut everything else off and I'm just watching this. And it's really fabulous. And you're connecting to a part of the world that is difficult to explain at this point. What's going on in America is very difficult to explain. And I'm old, right? And I still don't freaking understand it. So to hear you speaking about it and singing about it almost on a daily basis is so helpful. And in a way, for me, sort of therapeutic.
Yeah.
That you care enough about it to sing about it and talk about it. Makes me feel so much less nuts.
Oh, yeah.
And then am I still cranky, honey?
Woody said, a song ain't nothing but a conversation you can have when the conversation's really hard. And it's this repeating of the idea over and over again that makes it more approachable. And that is the beauty of song. And so what you do and the way you do it, you're like, but we still need to talk about this issue. Sing along with me. and that's really what Woody did when the conversation is hard. And the conversation is hard. Not to be naive about it. Like, it is a hard conversation. There's a lot of thoughts and opinions, and there's a fractured way of us taking in information that we thought was factual and news and scientific, and that's fractured now. It's like the ground we stand on is not ground, it's shiftable. And that's very, very challenging to process. So keep singing the songs. We still have to have this conversation, and to wake up and read the news and then to hear you go, okay, here we go. We can do this. I promise, we can do this. We can repair. We are not as divided as it is being portrayed that we are. That we have so much in common. And that is what Woody did. He's an Oklahoma kid who grew up to sing songs that were hard issues, but very singable, light, happy, joyous, hope. The new multitudes, the next generation, they're going to do even better. And so to see even just the next generation of songwriter continuing is really inspiring and brings a lot of hope. My stomach is less upset, and we go, okay, did you hear the new Jesse Wells song? What do you think about healthcare? Let's talk about it. Thanks, Jesse.